So if you clicked on this video, you probably are kind of like me. You have a very analytical mind and you like to think deeply about uh, big problems, okay? You have these existential thoughts that comes through your mind, like what is the meaning of life, or no, why should I keep going? What this which sense have all of this? And I remember that as a kid I was always like that. I remember when I was around 7, I opened was something a book about the universe and about cosmic stars and planets and all of that shit. It was very beautiful to me, and I was reading this book. It was very interesting, and there was this chapter about the sun, and I remember reading this book. And at a certain point, after talking about how the stars are made of helium that gets burned over time and time again, and that release energy that will reach our planet, etc., etc., I remember that there was a little part that says the sun after 4 billion of years will going to explode and all of us are going to die. And I remember that this was something that terrorized me a lot. That was the first time that I had an existential crisis. I was like, what the fuck? Are we so easily disposable in this big universe? And sometimes when I stay still and keep think about life, the more I keep thinking about it, and the more I find out that everything that I do haven't got a real purpose, haven't got a real meaning. So I ask myself, why should I keep going? Why should I pursue this thing instead of this other thing? Does it really matter in the end? Or other thoughts like, is there such a thing as free will? All my accomplishments are because I actually made it, or because there was some external right hand from God that pushed me into what I have or I don't have right now. Do I have a real impact over my action or not? So all of this stuff, and I am pretty good at identifying and resolving problems in my life, so I try to do the same thing, trying to analyze these big questions. The point is, there is no answer to this question, and keep thinking about it is do more harm than good. And if you're like me, what I want to say to you is that keep thinking will not solve this question. Keep thinking will not solve these problems. Even if you are thinking about smaller problems in scale, keep thinking about it will not help it. Maybe writing can help, maybe you're doing journaling, and that's absolutely beautiful. You should keep absolutely going. I believe a lot in writing for mental health and mental clarity, but keep thinking about something will not solve the problem. The only way to defeat overthinking is to shift your focus instead of inward, so your mind, instead of being interoceptive, instead of thinking about what's happening right here, you have to externalize your focus. It's the best way that I use to tackle these problems. So really engaging into real world stuff. What do I mean about that? Do fucking sports. Do physical activity. That's the best advice that I can give you. Why should you do physical activity? Or why should you do physical activity if you're going to die anyway? Man, if you have a bar of 150 kilos over your back and you're trying to squat, try to think about the weight of the universe and how the human condition is really miserable and we don't have any purpose in this life. Can you actually think about this shit when you have a weight that is crushing your back? You can't do that. Have you ever tried to, I don't know, understand what is the actual origin of consciousness or whatever the fuck when you are rolling in a jiu-jitsu or judo or wrestling match against another human being? Can you think about this stuff when you are trying to catch air while you're running? You cannot do that. That's why physical activity is extremely important. It's externalize your attention instead of inward to outward. Okay, also engaging in creative projects. That's also what can destroy overthinking. And there is a concept from Abraham Maslow. I remember I haven't read the actual book. I read only this part. He talked about peak experiences. Peak experiences are the one experiences where you're so engaged, so into what you're doing, then that when you look afterwards, these single peak experiences will give meaning to whatever you're doing, will give sense, and to you don't even have to take these questions when you're into these peak experiences. What are peak experiences, for example? It's not winning the Olympics, okay? It's could be things as little as passing a good day with your friends, passing a nice dinner with your family when you're truly engaged, when you're truly present, when you're laughing, playing, uh, when you compete, for example, or when you're at your graduation speech and you do something that you've practiced so much that leave other people speechless, is engaging actively into activities that are hard, that are challenging, but that you can overcome. And that's, I believe, the only way that you can solve your overthinking and your extreme introspection, which is something really good. You don't have to get rid of it. The fact that you are a deep thinker, it's beautiful. Not most people don't actually have these thoughts, or maybe they have, but they suppress it with doom scrolling, with addictions and other shit like that. You're trying to tackle this and you feel overwhelmed about it. It's fine, but what I can tell to you is stop trying to solve unsolvable problems. Focus on things that make you feel engaged and present in what you're doing. That's the only advice that I can give you. And hope that this was useful. Aim upward, remember.